Let me revert back to the word I used. I said the problem we have, like he said too, is due to systemic failure over the years. It didn't start yesterday. It didn't start in 10 years. It's been over the years. And it's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's all over the world. But the rates are different. Now let's talk local. What is our government doing? What are they not doing? You see, the thing is, it's a two-way thing. The government has responsibilities, and we, the populace too, we have responsibilities. But the higher responsibility lies with the government, because the government drives everything. Your economies, your social, everything is being driven by the government. So we are looking at ourselves as we speak. What are we not doing right? Let's leave natural disasters, occurrences aside. If there hadn't been COVID, we will still be talking about this same thing. So let us talk outside of natural. What are we doing? I can say one thing. The federal government is doing as much as it can. But I can say it is not enough. Because there are ways of driving issues. Like the African parlance. Don't give a man fish to eat. Teach him how to go and fish. That is where the government comes in highly. Our education system is too low for comfort. And unfortunately these days, even our little kids that are trying to go to the primary and secondary, the situation we find on our hands is making that impossible. Kids are being discouraged due to banditry, criminality, and the rest of it. That is the purview of the government. The number one job they have is protection to life and property. That is the essence where you have our monies with you, and that is where you are spending our monies on us. Protect us first. If you are not alive, you can't use a road, you can't build a house, you can't go to school, you can't eat. So those are secondary factors. We need to be alive first and foremost. Our kids now can't go to school because banditry and criminality is at the forefront. The government has to take care of that. Now that, let's leave that aside, and we say, okay, the kids are now in school. How much of encouragement do we give to the kids to go to school so that they can be self-employed or become entrepreneurs? We are not breeding entrepreneurs. We're breeding paper certificate kids. I was at a forum one day, it was at a graduation, and I told the graduates, I said, if you had been here, if you are here just because you want to pick up this certificate, you have missed it. You came here because, and you're a graduate today, because you have an advantage over somebody that never went to school. I will expect you, as we speak, that 60-70% of you should use the education you have picked up here to go out there and become entrepreneurs. Go and show the people that never went to school that, okay, my brain is a little bit sharper than yours. Let me see if I can employ one or two of you. We come together, form a synergy, and we'll move ahead from there. That is entrepreneurship. But we'll fall short of that because in most schools these days, all they teach them is just read, examination, you pass, you go out and go and seek a job. You will even find some very smart ones. They come out of school, they say, I want to work at NMPC. I want to work at the Inland Revenue. I want to work at CBN. You see, that we need to change that orientation, or else we will have a problem on our hands. Thank God we're two on the panel today. And then we can really diversify within our causes and solutions. He has been able to move ahead from the economic angle aspect of it. Let me digress a little bit to another angle that we are not looking at that is highly lucrative. And by saying that, I would like to be specific about two ministries we have. Ministry of Science and Tech, Ministry of Youth and Sports. You see, these days we look at employment vis-a-vis white-collar jobs and maybe anything along those lines. But this morning, I want to delve into what those two ministries can do.
Yeah,
and wait. We are looking for solutions here.
Yes, the question I ask is, how do we get these jobs retained in communities? Instead of having people to want to leave their hometown to go to big cities to look for jobs that are really available, how do we get them to...
So the thing is, thank you for that. There is need for orientation, sensitization, even in some cases, rehabilitation if you're displaced. That is the job of the government. That is the job of an agency that is called NOA, National Orientation Agency, because they have the grassroots presence. But how far is the government giving them a hand to make sure they do that job? For all I care, the last time I heard about NOA was during the days of MAMSA. Everybody knew what was going on. We were being fed with information on a daily basis. Top-end information, low-end information. Like our kids in the rural areas. Like he said, like Ishao said, wants to have a taste of the city. That is a human endeavor. You cannot stop that. The thing is, even back at home, they are probably into farming. Like he mentioned too, those days there was no family that was not into farming. No family. Even if it's just market gardening. When you say market gardening, something that is small enough for you to consume and then probably sell to one or two other people. Or a large-scale farming. Everybody was into that. These days, it's being maintained and the government is trying its own bit. There is anchor borrowers from CBN, for you to take and go into farming. A lot of other incentives are coming in from the federal government. Most of them being managed by NSIP, from Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and the rest of it. They are doing the bit. But the thing is, the person you want to help, how far have you orientated him, sensitized him, and educated him enough to know where he should go? When these things pop up, the people, I can say it, the people from my own perspective that do not need it are the ones that access it. The person that can go to the farm cannot even write his name, cannot even fill a form, talk less of pick up a phone, a device, and then log on to someone. He cannot log on to anything. The only thing he can do, even with his phone that he has, he can only receive, he can't even send a text, receive and talk. So the orientation, sensitization comes in that you need to get to these people, maybe one-on-one. What are you doing? This is what we can do for you. The government shouldn't wait for the people to come. Honestly, by the time we're waiting for the people to come, a little bit of fraud comes in. A little bit of misappropriation comes in. Take it to the people. You see what bothers me? When it comes to politicking and campaigning, what do politicians do? They will go to the last house. The last house. They will go there and say, my friend, please vote for me. I will do this, I will do that. And I'll tell you one truth. They go to every household in Nigeria. Every household, they go there. Now, when it comes to a way we can develop our nation, which is the purview of the government, they don't even get close to the words. By the time they get to the local government, they say, well, I'm going to do it. That is where we have a shortfall. That is where there is this increase. But like I said, I really want a situation where these two ministries, I said earlier, should be doing, their arms of government should be doing a great job. You see, the minister at Science and Tech, Ono, is doing a fantastic job. On a regular basis, he keeps saying, let us do this. Nigerians, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that. Innovations are there for people to tap into. What I would advise our kids these days is, rather than picking up your phone and going on Instagram or this or fake news, bandying fake news and the rest of it, key into Science and Tech. There is something happening out there that you can benefit from. That is, if you've gone to school. They are ready to improve on you. Onu said he is ready to improve on what is Nigeria and what Nigerians can do. Let me run you an inference. When we had COVID-19 at the first wave, you know what Onu said? Onu said he's ready to give 36 million to any Nigerian that can come up with anything that is close to being something that can kill this COVID. That shows the kind of drive that can come from Science and Tech. What I only want is they should develop on the dissemination of information to the grassroots, which is something they cannot do because they don't have the wherewithal to do it. This is something they should transfer to an agency like NOA that has offices in 774 local governments. NOA is everywhere. They have what they call community officers, in every LG. So basically, if we tap into that, science and tech comes up with the innovations the kids can work with, give it to NOA that is going to act on it, let them take it to the grassroots, and they can relate with the people one-on-one. By so doing, we will be alleviating the situation. Like he rightly said, a situation where every kid wants to have a feel of the city. Even by the time they get into Lagos, if they get to Lagos, he wants to go to England. They really want to get away. So we need to have incentives, palliatives, situations that will keep them at home. Everybody wants to live good. Everybody has a right to live good.
What will be the resultant effect if we don't get these things right? For instance, we know the issue of insecurity. So many persons will tell you an idle mind is a devil's workshop. What will be the effect both on the economy and the society at large?
We have to, for all I care, we haven't exhausted the solutions yet. Let's talk about the solutions that will drive the effect you're talking about. Earlier, I talked about Ministry of Science and Tech, and I said Ministry of Youth and Sports. I would like to tell my kids outside there, you've heard of Kanu Wankwo, you've heard of Okocha, you've heard of Israel Adesanya, you've heard of Joshua. One of the things that you've heard of our kid, Burna Boy, that just made Grammy, you've heard of Wizkid. What I call devotion to being an entrepreneur is what you should do. And I will revert back to most of these, our politicians. There are a lot of things you can do. It is not every kid that has the brains to go to the classroom. I'll tell you this for free. Short of big time manufacturing and IT, the next thing is entertainment. Every Nigerian sits down. Yesterday, you all sat down to watch Champions League. Those boys are picking up 130,000 pounds per week on the average. No Nigerian, I'll tell you again, no Nigerian earns that in a year. Unless you got something else to do, unless you are into the business world. So what I'm saying to you, our kids, here and now, and to our politicians who go back home and say, you are doing constituency projects that don't last 1 month or 2 months. For God's sake, start organizing sports situations, musical situations, not the BBN type that is, to me, is decadent. A situation where you tell a kid, I advise some kids, I said, look here, that watch that they sell for 200 naira, has a stopwatch in it. If you think you can run, find a place that is 100 meters. Time yourself and do that race. If you're close to 13 seconds on 100 meters, go to your sports ministry in that state and say, I can do this. If it's boxing, like the greatest guys in boxing will say, you don't come into boxing if you are not hungry enough. It is not meant for eggheads. If you are an egghead, you are highly learned, you will not know when the blow is coming. You need to be a tough man to go into boxing and make your own money. There is athletics, there is football, there is boxing, there is music, there is entertainment. Nollywood is going places, Hollywood is there, Bollywood is there. So my kids and my politicians, if you're going back home, try and put together our kids and let them go into the entertainment world. The entertainment world controls about 40%. Short of the 5 richest men who are into manufacturing, the next line of people are entertainers. Be them footballers, be them athletes, be them actors. Our kids can do that. We are very good at it. You see, right now, I am very proud of the Nigerian kid. They didn't wait on government, and they are making waves. Politicians, please go back home. Gather those kids. Let them play football. Rather than spending our money on whatever you want to spend it on, tell those kids, at the end of this match, the winning side will get X amount. Let me revert back to those days. I'm a Lagosian. There's a place we call Ajegunle. That was the place that gave us all the Kanu Wankwos, this Amunike, and the rest of them. They were playing on a field near Kirikiri. There's a prison in Lagos they call Kirikiri. That was where most of all those boys grew. And what did they become? they became household names all over the world. So politicians go back home and aid these boys to go into something that will dissipate that negative vibes. There is no teenager that doesn't have a negative vibe, because as they are growing, adrenaline is there. Give them a situation where they can dispense that adrenaline on something positive. Let them go into things like entertainment. You don't have to wait. Entertainment, most of them enjoy playing football. They enjoy watching football. They enjoy running. They enjoy watching Joshua. They enjoy watching Israel Adesanya. Those are enough mentors for them to go. All they need is the enabling environment. We need to do that to our kids. And the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I know the man Sunday Dare is his name. He's trying his own bit. But I'll tell you, you're not doing enough. The monies you have, we have a sports, what do we call it, that we haven't been able to. It hasn't happened because of COVID-19.
Yeah, the sports festival.
It hasn't happened because of COVID-19. We should go further than that. When I was growing up, there was Principal's Cup. There was even on a low level. Thank God for some television stations that are even doing it now, taking care of those secondary school students to do this. Politicians, please go. If you can't employ him, he has the brain to run faster than somebody who has the brain to read. He has a good voice to sing than even Ed. Think of our kids. I'm a happy Nigerian as we speak. Our kids are making waves. When I was growing up, if we go to parties, we play foreign records from beginning to the end. But these days, you go to parties, you will play the music of our kids. If you want to be there for 24 hours, you will play the music of our kids for 24 hours. That is an improvement. Those are factors, those are solutions and ways to go.
That's from Truth to be Told.
Yes, that's from Truth to be Told Network. Right.